Hey Blue Devils, welcome to World Changer 101. My name is Renaya Bennett, and today for World Changer 101, we're going to interview Miss Casey Taylor, an author from Gary, Indiana. So for starters, what made you start your career in writing?
Oh, well, as a kid, I always loved to read. Stories just always intrigued me. And so that eventually turned over into me writing stories. And then I found that it was something that I loved to do, and I just stuck with it.
That's nice. What has been one of the most challenging things you faced as an author?
Oh, so I'm a teacher as well. So the most challenging thing about being an author is splitting my time between the classroom and writing.
Hmm. Okay. What are your favorite books?
I like science fiction books. I love that genre. I also like cheesy zombie stories as well, and I like historical fiction.
What's your favorite book in general?
So my favorite author is Octavia Butler, and I just like all of her books. She's a science fiction writer, so it's hard just to pick one.
Yeah. What books would you recommend for teen reading?
I would definitely recommend my books for teen reading. So I have written three books. My first book is Any Possible Outcome, a book of urban tales, and this book has been around a lot for almost 20 years, I would say. So this is my most popular one. And last year I wrote Sincerely Yours, Mrs. Taylor Wash, which is a book of inspirational poems dedicated to teenagers, and it won a Book Fest award for best young adult poetry. And my most recent one is Black Leather Jacket. And this one I wrote, it just came out in June, about 6 months ago.
That's cool. Are there any events in your life that you feel have had an impact on your writing?
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's a really good question. So, my background as a teacher, so mostly I've taught in the sixth grade and also middle school. I taught a year in high school, and now I'm teaching in elementary. So, the background of my students, I come up with a lot of ideas from watching my students and their creativity and things that I want to say to them that I can't say in the classroom setting. So I'm definitely inspired by my students.
I love that. If you can give any advice to people who are interested in writing as a career, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to write every day. Sometimes it's hard to come up with things to write, to be consistent with it. But I feel if you try to write something every day, even if it's just a sentence, or even if you're just brainstorming thoughts, or just some creative words or phrases that you want to put down, I think that counts. So just to write a little bit every day, and also to read.
Yes. What was the book that you feel you did the best on and why?
As far as writing,
Hmm.
I would say it has to be my poetry book, Sincerely Yours, Mrs. Taylor Wash. And I say that because in this book, there are over 100 poems, um, all of different types of genres, and they're all inspirational in nature. And it's just, I had the opportunity to be really creative with it. So there are limericks in there are haiku poems, there are all types of poems, all types of verses, and different stories and genres in there. So I would definitely say Sincerely Yours.
That's really good. What book? Oh, I just asked that. What is your favorite thing to write about?
Oh, another good question. I would have to say anything that's inspiring to teenagers I like to write about. So it can basically be anything. Like I like take an idea and I try to make it creative and then try to put a hidden lesson in there.
Okay, why are teenagers like your main audience?
That is a really good question. I guess it's because when I was a teenager myself, I was born in Gary. I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And as a teenager, that's when I first fell in love with reading and also with writing. And it was, I guess, a very critical part in my life because we moved around a lot. And that's where I started writing the most when I was a teenager, or preteen, should I say, around 6th grade. So I guess that always stuck.
Okay. What is the process of writing books and how long is the full process?
There is no specific time limit for it, because Black Leather Jacket, I've worked on that for years and years. It would always be something that I work on, and then I'll put it down for weeks, maybe even a year, and then I'll come back to it in the process of writing other things. So there's no specific timeline, but it all starts from ideas that I have, like no matter what I'm doing. Even if I'm sleeping and I have an idea, I get up and then I write it down on my cell phone, or either in my journal. So it just comes down from writing a lot of ideas and then sitting down and putting those ideas into words and then to paragraphs. So that's the process that I use: ideas, and then I build on top of those ideas.
Okay. Do you ever suffer from writing block, and what are some suggestions for dealing with that?
Oh, writer's block is real. And yes, I suffer from writer's block, a great deal, in fact. And so when that happens, I just have to understand that it's a natural process of being an author. Like, it's going to happen. The ideas are not always going to flow. So when that happens, I turn off my writer's hat, and then I just pick up books and I just read. So when I'm in writer's block, I feel like it's my turn to be a reader as opposed to being a writer. And then eventually the ideas will start going again, and then that's when I focus on the writing.
Hmm, that's creative. Is there anything you have not done with your writing that you want to do?
Yes. So I want to write all the time. I wish I could, but like I said, it has to come in spurts, especially since I'm teaching. But I want to write a series of, I guess it's called an anthology. So I want to write a book and then build up on that by creating a series within the book. And
Okay.
then I also like to experiment with different genres. So I like mostly write poetry and also historical fiction, but I can see myself writing something else, probably like some horror books or something different.
Do you write any digital stories or essays?
I do not. I do not write digital stories.
Okay. Students often have trouble thinking of topics to write about. How do you come up with topics?
Ooh. So I'm inspired by what goes on in my life. And like I said, a lot of ideas come from being a teacher, and then things that interest me as well.
Hmm, okay. You said you didn't write any digital stories or essay. Why not?
Not sure. I just always thought about writing on like a computer or a notebook and a mechanical pencil. I don't know. Sometimes I'm old school like that. But I always thought just to create a story and then to just put into the form of a paperback book. So that's always what I've done. But with digital stories, do you mean like ebooks, or do you mean like, what do you mean by digital stories?
Yeah, like ebooks and stuff like that, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, two of the books that I've written are in the form of ebooks.
Okay. Can you talk to our students about the importance of strong writing in high school and higher education?
Yeah, so writing is very, very important. So especially when it comes to higher education. So there's a difference between just free writing and creative writing and expressing yourself. And then also you have to be able to do the formal writing as well. That's where the punctuation and capitalization comes in, and also a more organized style, should I say, and then including references. But it's also, I don't want to discourage anyone from doing the creative writing. Journaling, on the other hand, is also important, and being able to write freely about what you want to write about.
So, do you spend a lot of time in the library because students often can access a lot of information online?
Yes, I love libraries. You can definitely find a lot of information online, but it's something about being in a library or a bookstore where you see the books on the shelves. I don't know, it just gives me a different type of feeling when I'm in a bookstore or a library.
Is there anything else you would like to share with our student body?
So any so words that I would like to share is just continue to be you and also to express yourself through writing. I know a lot of young people go through stress, in your lives, especially at the high school age. There's a lot of things. And then there's social media. So there's a lot of things out there that can mess with your mental health. But writing can be a coping method, especially if you do a lot of journaling or free writing. It can take you to a different space that you can enjoy and you can block out all other distractions.
Thank you so much. We would like to thank Ms. Casey Taylor for talking with us about her career as an author and educator. I'm Renaya Bennett, and please join us for another episode of World Changer 101 next week.
Thank you, Renaya.